Step 1. Read all of the important information. Okay, I've done that. Now I'm going to go right to Step 2. Organize your work area. You want to lay down some newspaper on which to work. We recommend a minimum 3-sheet thickness. Here I'm just using some stationery paper. On this paper, we want to set up the following items that are listed on the instruction sheet. We also want to have an each ear identification guide handy because we'll be using that later. We recommend using a lighted magnifying lamp while you work. Step 3. Separate the RIC receiver from the hearing aid and set it aside outside of your work area. Step 4. Remove the cap from the Gruv Button adhesive bottle and attach a dispensing tip. You may use a puncture pin if you need to. Here I don't need to. And attach the dispensing tip to the adhesive bottle. You also want to remember to keep the adhesive bottle upright to avoid having the adhesive cure in the bottle nozzle. Step 5. Place the Gruv Button on the RIC receiver wire. The open end is facing the back end of the RIC receiver. Slide the Gruv Button onto the RIC receiver wire, and you want to confirm that the Gruv Button fits properly, that it's not too tight and not too loose. You should be able to close the slit in the Gruv Button with just an easy squeeze. If there's no tail, you want the slit to be upward. If there is a tail, then you want the slit to be downward and through the wire so that the retention tail is inside of the Gruv Button slit. Step 6. With the Gruv Button in position on the receiver, apply instant glue proof to your fingers, especially your fingertips. Apply instant glue proof sparingly and only on the outside and top of the Gruv Button using a cotton swab. You want to apply a little bit onto the RIC receiver wire on the back of the RIC receiver, to about a 1/2 inch behind the back of the receiver. And finally, you want to apply the instant glue proof to the inside of the Gruv Button cradle. Step 7. Attaching the Gruv Button to the back end of the RIC receiver. Hold the RIC receiver wire in one hand about a 1/4 inch away from the back of the RIC receiver and gently back the Gruv Button off of the back RIC receiver so that the opened end of the Gruv Button becomes accessible for you to gently squeeze a drop of Gruv Button adhesive into it. Then go ahead and gently squeeze a drop of Gruv Button adhesive into the Gruv Button. Set the Gruv Button adhesive bottle down and hold the dome end of the RIC receiver in one hand, and with the other hand slide the Gruv Button all the way and squarely onto the back end of the RIC receiver. Again, if no tail, slit up, and if there's a threaded tail, slit down, with the retention tail through the slit. Hold the Gruv Button in this position with your fingers so that the slit is closed for just about 30 seconds. Then, gently slide your fingers holding the Gruv Button down the RIC receiver toward the dome end and off of the Gruv Button. If the Gruv Button is not round, because the RIC receiver is rectangular, for example, place the Gruv Button in the Gruv Button cradle for a few minutes to create a more round shape. Step 8. Use the Gruv Button Accelerator and wipe off the instant glue proof. So carefully using the Gruv Button Accelerator, dab all the way around the bottom edge of the Gruv Button to cure the adhesive here instantly. Wipe the instant glue proof off the Gruv Button and RIC receiver wire. Use a business card to clean off the fingernail grooves. Use a toothpick to gently scrape off the Gruv Button adhesive from the top of the outside of the Gruv Button and off the RIC receiver wire. Then let the retrofitted Gruv Button assembly sit for about 5 minutes. Then reattach the RIC receiver to the hearing aid body. Step 9. While this unit, the RIC receiver with Gruv Button assembly, is drying, you can interview the patient about their needs, level of satisfaction, etc. Take the each ear canal identification guide and write the patient's name on it, and then check the initial angles and first bends of each ear canal and highlight the most appropriate section. Then review with the patient the highlighted sections based on the selections and any mobility and other limitations, how to use the Gruv Buttons most effectively. Step 10. Remove the dispensing tip and recap the Gruv Button adhesive bottle. Store your Gruv Button adhesive bottle upright and capped. Please note the hints and tips at the end of your How to Retrofit instructions. They include a couple items I want to mention, such as, because the receiver is inserted more deeply into the ear canal, you may likely select a one size longer RIC receiver wire due to this deeper insertion. You also may find that you are less likely to need a retention tail when the RIC receiver is inserted more deeply into the ear canal.